All right, welcome guys. Thank you for coming to the call tonight. I want to do some preliminary checking, make sure everything's working. If you guys can hear me, would you type something in the chat, a Y or a 1 or something, just to let me know that you can hear me? I want to make sure that the sound is working for everyone. I'm not seeing anything in the chat. There's Roy. All right, Roy, thanks. Great. So we know it's working now. Okay, so we want to go ahead and get started right on time. I'm going to try to do these things right on time every Monday at 8 o'clock. So as not to keep you guys too long. My goal is for each one of these to shoot for 30 minutes or so. Hi, Dana. Glad to see you. Glad you can hear me too. So apparently we're working well. Tonight's session is going to be an orientation session, and we're going to start a series of workshops. And notice I said these are going to be workshops. Before, what I was doing was just individual trainings in a question and answer session. And what we're going to do starting with this call, not so much a workshop, but more or less a training for this one, but starting with next week, they're going to be workshops in that each one will be showing you a different strategy and something that you need to do in your business to get it moving, get it going forward. Um, each one will build upon the next. So if you complete, or if you at least get started with what was in the previous workshop and you can complete it and then you start the new one, you'll be able to progress right through what we're going to be doing in all these workshops. Um, I wanted to go over the main reason why I'm even doing these workshops is, as you guys know, I took a break from doing live trainings and really stopped doing product creation. Did some affiliate marketing, but not a whole lot. And last year, we all had a tough year last year. I mean, the coronavirus just ripped through the world and just upset everything. A lot of businesses closed because they couldn't survive, you know, during the lockdowns, and a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people couldn't go back to work after things started straightening back up again. And one of the things that become prevalent in everybody's minds was the world has changed, that you need to be prepared for alternative paths for running a business or starting a new business. Um, so that's what the goal is in this series of workshops, is to train you guys on how, if you have either a physical brick and mortar store, to get it online and be building a loyal following and, you know, working with your customer base. And if you're brand new and want to start a business online, then to give you a good path to follow with that as well. A lot of people think just, throwing up a website or a blog or something like that, and starting a social media account is enough, and that's all you have to do. And yeah, it's a start. It's one of the points in getting started, but it's not the whole picture. And there's several steps and processes that you need to go through to really have a successful digital presence online. So that's what we're going to do in these workshops, is we're going to teach you how to start your business and how to grow it and make it progress and see it become a success. So at any time, if you have questions during the training, just go ahead and type them into the chat, and I'll come back to them as quick as I can. There will be a question and answer session at the end of this. So like again said, I appreciate you guys coming to the call, and then there's going to be a lot of people that watch us after it's over with, and there's going to be, the public will be discovering it later after, this one and probably a few more have gone by. And that's also another thing I wanted to talk about. I wanted to make these easier for people to attend. Before, when I was doing the trainings and the workshops, I did them through, a webinar software, which means you had to register. Some of the softwares worked really good. Some of them had problems. Some of them, didn't work with certain people's computers. So that's why I wanted to do these as a live stream on public mediums this time, to where, basically all you have to have is a browser. Go to the link in whatever medium we're going to be on. We're starting out with just YouTube, but I will be adding LinkedIn and Facebook and a couple of others as we progress and see how I get more used to this software. So it's going to be easily accessible, and you'll be able to watch the replays usually within 15, 20 minutes after the call's over with. The video replay will be ready. Now, there won't be any editing to it, so any mistakes that I make during the call, anything that I mess up on, it's going to be there for the live everybody to see it as it happens. And I'm not perfect; things do happen, and I guarantee with getting used to this new software and the platforms, I'm going to make mistakes. So what you see is what you get. It's what's going to happen. So let me switch to my navigation here, and we'll go ahead and get started. No, that's not it. Here we go. All right, so like I said, this is our orientation call. We're going to go over tonight what we're going to be doing in these sessions and give you a preview of what's to come and what we should be doing each week. Like I said, because these are progressive sessions that each one will build upon the next. So tonight our topics that we're going to cover are, they're going to talk about the getting started myths, the myths that people have about starting a business online or converting your existing business to a digital presence. We're going to talk about what you really need to do to start one, and we're going to talk about the digital business makeover success path. What the things that you need to that we'll be talking about in these sessions. We'll go over briefly with those. We're going to talk about quantifying what you really need to be doing, and what you really need to start the business, your digital business. Then we're going to talk about quantifying what you want out of your business. Then we're going to talk about quantifying what you have to buy, because there are going to be things that you're going to have in order to have a digital presence online. So we're going to talk about those as well. Then we're going to talk about overcoming obstacles, because no matter what we do, we're going to run into obstacles in any of the processes and steps we go through. We're going to run into obstacles, and I'm going to give you a little bit of training on how to get over those. Then we're going to talk about the 1% of people that have almost instant success. Then we're going to talk about the 99%, which is the rest of us, and what we go through to see success. All right, so let's get started with the getting started myths. So these are the myths that you hear most often when you're trying to get started with a digital business and bringing your new business online. You hear that you need to have the perfect product or lots of products. That's one of the myths that you hear. You hear that you need to have big launches. You hear that you need to have lots of JVs and affiliates. You need to have a Facebook or other social media in place. You have to have big ticket products to sell. You have to have some sort of software. Push button is what comes to mind with most people. You need to have some sort of easy to use push button software. You need to have a big or lots of personality. These are the things that most people, when they think about having a digital presence or starting a business online, these are the things that most people think that you have to have in place. You have to have all of these in place and ready to go before you even start. And most of these you don't even need at all. Some of these, you do want to have them eventually, but you don't have to have all this to start with. So what do you really need to build a self-sustainable online business or a digital presence online if you have a brick and mortar store and you're wanting to start a digital presence online? So this is what you really need. You got to have a market. No matter no matter what business you're in, you're going to have a market. And when we talk about market, we're not talking about a place to market to. We're talking about an actual customer base or group of people or a niche that you're wanting to market to. In other words, you know where there's a need and you know that you want to try to fill that need, or you already have a business and you want to try to bring those customers into your digital presence and have that as your market. So that's one of the things that you really need. You need to be able to do some sort of meeting with these people that you're bringing into your business and exposing your digital presence to them with. Meeting, I mean, it could be anything from doing the live workshops or webinars like I'm doing here tonight, or it could be having a forum, or it could be having a Facebook group. You need to have some way to be able to meet your market and start working with finding out what their needs are and what you can do to satisfy the problems that they're having. You need to have a message, and when we talk about message, we're talking about actually it's your brand, what brand you're building for your business. And you may already have started with this. If you have a brick and mortar store, you've already started with trying to build a brand. We need to be able to portray this message in everything that you do in your digital business as well. You need to have a business model. There's several different business models you can choose in the online world, and there's actually most of those models can be applied to the offline world in the brick and mortar stores too. But you need to have a main primary business model that you want to follow, that you're happy with and you're comfortable with. You need to have monetization in everything that you do. You need to be somehow looking towards monetizing what you're working with and what you're doing in your digital business, some way of bringing back monetization money from what you're going to be doing, if not instantly while you're working with it, or down the road building up to something that's going to bring in monetization later. You got to have movement. You need to have movement and momentum in your digital business. In other words, you can't just start an online presence or a business and just leave it there and hope that it grows on its own. You got to be doing something to build that presence and to keep it going and generate the excitement to keep people coming back to it and to bringing new people into it. So this is one of the things that most people fail with, is the actual movement, gaining momentum in building their digital presence. A lot of people, they get started and they see a little bit of success, and they think it's just going to grow on its own, so they leave it as it is, and it starts to stagnate. Or a lot of people get started, they don't see any success, and they give up on it, and it just sits there as a stale digital presence that doesn't do anything. It will never do anything because there's no movement or momentum in it. Then you need to have mutation, and what I'm talking about by mutation is you need to be able to adapt as things change. For instance, what happened to us last year, we discovered last year that we needed to have an online presence. We need to be able to take orders and fulfill orders online because people couldn't come to our stores from what happened with the coronavirus last year. It's the same way with your digital business. If you're starting a digital business, you need to be able to adapt to changes that come along in that. And a prime example I can give you of that is, we all know that email marketing is one of the biggest things in an online business, and should be in any digital business. But there's constant change in email marketing and what can be done with it. Apple just released a, a new update to their software that's really going to hurt a lot of people doing email marketing, in that they're not going to allow the autoresponders and email messages to have tracking in them. They're going to block the tracking. So that hurts a lot of people in that, that they're going to disable that. Now, Apple claims they have 34% of the online webmail. I don't know whether that's true or not, but that's what they claim. But they have 30%, 34% share in it. So that's a pretty big market, that they have, and a change that they have made to email marketing definitely affects everybody. So when things like that happen, you need to be able to adapt to it and be able to overcome it if it's something that's really going to hurt you, or be able to work around it if it's something that you can do a workaround for. And these will be the recurring principles in these workshops. We're going to talk about these things over and over and over again in each section that we work in. We won't go over every single one of them, obviously, but these will be embedded into each workshop that we do. Some of these, or maybe all of these in some of them, but these are the things that we're going to really try to pay attention. And these are the things that we really need to be thinking about and working towards with our digital business. So how can people with different backgrounds find a unique path to profit? That's one of the biggest questions that people have in their minds. Well, if I start a digital presence, or if I start an online business, how am I going to profit from it? And how can I be unique about it to it attracts attention to what I'm doing, as opposed to what other people are doing just like me? So one of the things we need to do in starting our digital business is to work on our unique path. So let's talk about your unique success path. This is the things that we can do and you can do to start working on what's going to make you unique with yours, as opposed to everyone else. These workshops are going to be designed for you to do the work to define the path and the right way to do it. Like I said, each one is going to be on a different section and a different topic, and each one is going to build upon the one before. In that you may not have to have completely completed the one before, but you need to at least have gotten started with it and have a familiarity of what the previous workshop was, and be able to uh, continue with finishing it if you haven't finished it yet. The process that we're going to undertake and to help you get your unique success path is we're going to talk about brand building. Um, Brand building is one of the biggest things that people ignore. They think branding is just a logo and a slogan and maybe a color scheme. They think it's all there is to branding. Well, branding goes so much deeper than that. There's a lot more to branding than just having a logo and a slogan and a colorful, color coordinated website. And those of you that are in the JSYOB membership site, there's a product in there, a training course called the Unstoppable Brand, that everybody needs to go through and watch. And it explains how some of the most successful businesses, both offline and online, have worked towards their branding, and then how they portrayed their message through their branding. And I really encourage all of you to go through that training. It's a really good course on giving you an understanding of what branding really is. The other thing we need to talk about, and you need to be working with your success path, is product acquisition or creation. No matter what business model you're in, whether it's online or offline, you got to have something to sell, which means you've got to have some sort of products. You can either create these yourself, have them manufactured if you're offline, or you can acquire them, buy rights to them, or have wholesalers to provide them to you if you're offline. But you got to have product acquisition in order to be able to create the products that you're going to be able to sell. And of course, you're going to have to incorporate email marketing. No matter what people tell you, email marketing is not dead. It will never die. It's just going to go through lots of changes, just like the one I told you a few minutes ago about what Apple was doing with email marketing and how they're changing the way email marketing is going to be done in the near future. And of course, we got to have traffic generation, and that's true no matter whether you have an online business or an offline business. You got to have people coming in the door, coming to your website, going through your sales funnel, looking at your products. You got to have people coming and on a consistent basis. So this is one of the things that's going to be in building your unique success path. And then content creation. Um, in this, what I'm talking about, this is mostly towards your digital side of your business. You got to be able to constantly be gathering attention, doing things that, bring people back to the digital side of your business because they want to see what something new that you've done, something that you're talking about, something that you're demonstrating. So you got to be able to create this content, that keeps people coming back. And then personal development throughout starting a digital business and maintaining it. You go through a lot of changes yourself in your mindset and things that you thought before that weren't working that you need to work on, or obstacles that you're running into and overcoming them, and just really adapting to the online world, because it does change consistently. And if you've never started one, there's a lot to learn. So uh, personal development is a huge part in finding your unique success path. And each week, there will be something actionable in all of these workshops that you can work on. Now, tonight, there won't be anything actionable in tonight's because we're just going over an overview of what you should be doing and what to expect from these workshops. But each week, starting with next week, there will be something actionable to do that falls with the training that we have for that week. So I'm titling this series that we're working on the Digital Business Makeover Success Path. And for some of us, it is a digital makeover, and then for some of us, it's a brand new start. Um, like I said, this set of workshops is not just for people that are wanting to start an online business. It could be that you have a brick and mortar store that you found out in 2020 that you needed to have a digital presence, but you didn't know how to get started with it or what to do with it once you have one. That's what this series of workshops is going to be about, and it's going to be several weeks. Um, I have at least 10 workshops already planned out that we're going to be doing, and like I said, each one is going to progress to the next one. So this is our success path that we're going to follow with these workshops. You're going to first off position yourself as a solution provider, problem solver, and it doesn't matter what you're selling, whether it's something online or offline. Whatever you're selling needs to either provide a solution for something or it solves a problem that somebody's trying to do. I mean, it could be anything. Let's just take, for instance, an offline business. For you, if you sell lawnmowers, well, the problem is your customers need to be able to, to mow their yard and take care and keep their yard clean and tidy. So you sell a product that helps them do that. If you're an online business, somebody may be having a problem with doing Facebook group moderation, or they may have a problem with getting images or doing videos in their business. You can help provide them with a solution for doing that. And in the same sense, by providing a solution, you're also becoming a problem solver, because people are looking online to solve a problem that they have most of the time. And another big part of it is they're actually looking for a solution to something else that they're struggling with. But problem solving is one of the biggest things that people have, and it's both offline and online. We're going to talk about being able to do weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly workshops. And I titled this lesson that we'll be doing when we get to this workshops, but they don't really have to be workshops. You don't really have to go into them thinking that you got to uh, provide some sort of training that's going to motivate and get the people that are coming to the weekly or monthly or workshops to be able to work on something. It could be just be a straight informational training on something, or some sort of you know, demonstration of something that you sell. It could be just something as simple as that. It don't really necessarily have to be workshop. So I may retitle this one when we get to that one, because that will confuse people thinking that they actually have to create something that's interactive. And it don't really have to be something that's interactive. It just needs to be something consistent. We're going to talk about building your product snowball, which means we're going to talk about building your momentum and your monetization. One of the things you always want to be doing is adding more products into your uh, inventory of something to sell to people. You don't want to try to rely on just having one product and that's the only thing that you sell. You want to be able to have other products that maybe go into the next area of whatever your first product does, or it's totally addresses a new issue, a new problem or a solution that some people are seeking. But you need to be able to have more than one thing that you're selling, and we're going to work on showing you how to do that, to consistently have more and more things that you're going to be able to sell, because you're going to find people that are looking for different things coming to you, won't know if you have something that does this, or if you have a solution for a particular problem or need that they have. And then you're going to have other people that come to you with a totally different set of problems that they're having, or looking for solutions to something that they're working on. So you need to be able to have something for everyone. Not You're not going to be able to solve everybody's problem, not trying to say that, but you need to be able to have something that if somebody asks about it, you've got something to help them with, and something that you can direct them towards that you're selling. We're going to talk about creating a content factory, and by content factory, what we're talking about there is constantly having something in your digital business that's new and fresh to get your name and your brand and your message out. Um, and it could be, in talking about a content factory, if you're selling digital products, something that's new that talks about the next product that you have coming out. So you constantly have some way of getting the message out that you've got things that are that you're selling now, or things that are coming up, and to be able to tell people that you have multiple things that you're working on, and things that are coming up. We're going to talk about building a massive network, and this will be both in your customer base and in affiliates and JV partners and partnerships that you have with other people to help promote your business, and you help promote their business. But also your own customer base. You need to start building a network of these people that you can work with. We're going to talk about becoming a media mogul, and that will be a training where we'll talk about dominating a particular online medium and really getting familiar with it, and knowing exactly how to use it, and how to be able to get your message out constantly and consistently with ease, and be comfortable with doing it, so that you don't struggle with each new thing that you do with it. Once you get used to using one medium and you're comfortable with it, well, then you can add other ones to it. That's what we'll talk about in that workshop. Then we're going to talk about getting into production mode, and um, working on your time management, and building out your plan for how you work on new products and releasing them, and how you work about the actual marketing of them, and keep getting the word out about things that you have coming out, and staying productive in doing these type of things and not wasting time. And we're going to talk about having a learning center, and this is where your content factory may come into play, is by creating an actual learning center where people can come and see the content that you're creating, that get your brand and your message out. And if you do trainings on something, a place for those to be able to be found, where people can be able to come to your learning center to find out things that you've done in the past. I'll give you a great example of this. Uh, there are people that are on YouTube that are associated with uh, car parts and selling different types of car parts. And what they'll do is they'll create several little videos showing how to change out a car part in a particular make and model of a car. And it'll be a 5-10 minute video showing how to do it. A lot of times they have to speed things up or whatever, to create this 5 or 10 minute video. But then they have that all stored up into one section, where you can go into that one section and you can search and find a particular car part you're interested in or want to know how to change out. They have a video, they have a section where you can search for it, type of thing. That's what we're talking about with building a learning center. And of course, like I said, in that example, it's something offline, and building a digital presence for an offline business. It could be your online business, having a learning center of trainings and products that you sell, that having a one set center where people can go and see what you have to offer. Then we're going to talk about creating a fan-based community and what that will do for you. Um, that will be probably one of the best trainings that we have, is talking about building a fan base and how you can grow your fan base, because that is going to be one of the keys to your success, is having a fan base. So let's talk about 10 consistent practices amongst digital businesses, and what we should be doing with our digital businesses. So we want to first off have a unique selling proposition. This is what makes us unique from other people selling something online. We want to have exponential marketing and growth engine. In other words, we have different ways of getting our marketing out in different avenues and efficiently and effectively. These can be probably your vertical funnels and your horizontal funnels that you're going to be using in your marketing. It doesn't matter what you're selling, whether it's offline or online. You have an initial product that you're selling, then you have the upsells that you want to go with it. That's what we're talking about when we talk about funnels. And like I said, there's both vertical and horizontal funnels. Horizontal funnels are when you have a front end offer and then you offer them the next upgrade to it. That's a horizontal funnel. It just goes step by step proceedings through the funnel of products that you have to offer. Vertical funnels is when you have a front end product, but then you have other products that are similar that would work with the product that you just bought, that you recommend those other products to go along with it. Those are called vertical funnels, where they're not necessarily a part of the the main funnel, that each one goes along with the front end product. It could be something that's related to it that works with it. You need to be constantly working on list building. This is both in offline and online. You need to be doing list building and building your customer base and putting them on a contact list where you can get in touch with them. You need to have marketing alliance, JVs, and affiliates, and this is both offline and online. You need to have this. You need to do media marketing, and by here we're talking about different ways of getting your messages out in either social media, on your blog, or YouTube or the various places like you need to be able to do media marketing. You need to be able to do direct and response marketing. And by this, I'm talking about marketing that you do that asks your customer or prospects to interact with you. You need to be able to do that. You need to have community marketing, and this is again going to where your customers and your prospects are hanging out and being able to do marketing to those people. Maybe not directly, because some communities won't allow you to do that, but you can have your own community, and that's one of the things we'll talk about, is building your own community. Internet marketing in general, not just the internet marketing niche, but just marketing in the internet. You need to be able to know how you're going to do it and how you're going to do it efficiently, and the money you might need to spend on it. And this could be, doing search engine marketing, could be doing social media marketing, could be doing paid marketing. And then we're going to talk about one of the things you need to be working on, and we need to talk about, is information and publication marketing. Uh, this is one of the biggest things right here, is information and publication marketing. A lot of people ignore this. They think all they do is create the product and hope that it stands on its own. They don't have to do any kind of anything to go along with it to help attract people to it, and that's really the wrong approach. You need to be able to put information out about it and generate an interest in it, so when people come to look at the product that you're selling, they're already partly sold on buying it because they've had some information about it. This could be, when we talk about information and publication marketing, it could be about products, it could be about books. And then lastly, free education marketing. And this is what I talked about in the last slide when we talk about being a media mogul and using and dominating one particular medium for getting your media out. Is one of the biggest ways you can attract people is to offer some free education on something. And that could be, like I said, with the one example I gave you with the YouTube guys that sell car parts. They create those videos to show you how to change the car part out, but their whole purpose is to get you to buy the car part. But people come to watch that video because they want to be able to see how to do it, or they're looking for information about, is this the car part that I really need, that type of thing. Now, these things that we're talking about here, we're not going to go into explicit depth about all of these. We'd be here forever if we did that. But I do have a training course on this. It's called the Strategic Marketing Playbook. You'll find it over in the JSYOB membership site as well. It's available for you over there, that will explain every bit of this in more detail. So let's talk about quantifying the things in your business, what you want, what you need, and what you need to be doing. So this is what we want to quantify what you need to build a business. And one of the things that I found is a good reference to this is a guy named Kevin Kelly, which you can find him at kk.org. He talks about how creative people don't necessarily need to be a big hit. In our digital world, that would mean going viral. You really don't have to be an Instagram influencer, or you have a YouTube video that goes viral and gets shared all over the world. You really don't have to have that. You just need to be creative and constantly bringing something out that attracts attention to you and your business. Creative people need to have a dedicated following. This is one of the things that Kevin Kelly talks about. You need to have a following of people who know they and understand them. This is one of the things that we all try to work for, is having a really good customer base or email marketing list that when you trying to contact them, or you send some message out to them in some way, or you send an email to them, that they're listening to you and they're opening the emails, they're listening to your marketing message, and they're paying attention to you. This is one of the things that you really need when you have a business, is to start working on that loyal customer following. Now, one of the things they say you need to have 1,000 true fans. Now, I don't know if that's the magic number. 1,000 is, it could be 100, it could be 5,000. But they need to be really true people that are really following you and that are listening to what you have to say, and they're interested in what you have to say, and they trust in following what you're telling them. You need to have true fans that are willing to do this. And then with these true fans, whether it be 1,000, 100, or 5,000, whatever it might be, you need to be able to have it. These true fans be able to spend at least $100 with you in a calendar year. Now, what we're talking about with $100, that breaks down to what, about $8.80 a month, something like that. So $100 is not hard to generate amongst 1,000 true fans, if that's how many that you have. But the key thing is that these true fans need to be able to spend, or be willing to spend, $100 on something that you're selling within each calendar year. And by doing this, you're going to be able to know what your revenue stream is, and what your marketing budget is, and what your investment budget is in keeping your business going. So one of the things you need to be asking yourself when you're working on building your following and your customer base is, what can you do that would be worth $100 in a calendar year? Now, depending on what you're selling, whether you're selling something offline or online, you could have something that is worth more than $100. But you're not going to be able, if you have something very expensive, you're not going to be able to expect that your true loyal base is going to buy that product every single year, unless it is something that they would need to buy every year that is worth more than $100. If you have something like that is like that, well, then maybe you could. But you can't in general expect your customer base to buy something that's over $100 every time they buy something with you. You can't expect that. You're going to have to be able to sell them something that's less than $100, and then sometimes more than $100, and have a variety of offers and products that you can, try to generate that $100 average from them in a year's time. And like I said, it works down to where it's about $8.88 a month or something like that. You need to be able to, from each one of your loyal fans, if you have 1,000 of them, as the example that Kevin gives, for them to be able to spend $8.88 with you every single month in a year, or it could be $100 all at once. So let's define about where you are right now. So what then are you trying to do with your business online right now, or are you wanting to do with it? Well, the first thing you're going to need to do, and you should be wanting to do, is attract your fans. We talked about that in the last slide, having the true loyal fans that read your emails, look forward to your marketing messages, come to your YouTube channel, follow you on Facebook or whatever it might be. You need to first off be attracting those fans. You need to be able to create or recreate solutions and goals that your fans love. These are things that they don't necessarily, maybe not necessarily need, but it's things that they like, things that they're really interested in, things that satisfy them in some way, something that gives them pleasure in some way. They have to be able to love something about what you're doing. And then one of the key things is, once you have these fans, once you start gathering, you need to be able to satisfy them. You need to be able to get feedback from them in what their dealings are with you, and how things have been, things that you could improve on, things that they'd like to see you doing, that type of thing. Then you need to be able to produce consistently to these fans, constantly, staying top of mind with them. And again, when we talk about getting into production mode, having something, that you're working on and you're getting ready to come out with, that you're going to be able to offer them as you acquire it or you get it ready. And then you need to be able to give back generously to your customers. And by this, I don't mean everything you need to do is free and then once in a while sell something. What I'm talking about giving back generously is being over and above board with being able to help somebody or offer suggestions or help them with something that they bought from you. You need to be able to give generously to these people and not treat them just as, well, you bought this from me, now I'm ready to move on to the next person. You need to be able to give back to them generously in, most of the time this will be your time in helping them with something. So one of the things when we're generating these fans and satisfying our fans is we don't want to confuse the vehicle of our destination of where we're wanting to go and confuse the vehicle as being the destination. An example of this is live streaming video is a medium. It's something that you do to help attract and satisfy your fans. But the destination is to find the true fan. You're going to be using this live stream video to stay in contact or to attract new fans, but you're going to use it really as the destination of finding your true fans. That's what the live streaming video is all about. It's your vehicle for getting to the true fan. So video is the vehicle to get the fans to stick. And if something else, maybe it's something like podcasting or blogging works better, well, then we need to be using that as well. So when we talk about don't confuse the vehicle with the destination, that's what we're talking about with that, is making sure that you're not concentrating on the actual method that you're using, but you're concentrating on using that method towards the destination or the goal that you have with it. As a real quick, make sure that you guys can still hear me and you're hearing me okay. So if you could put a 1 or something into the chat box there and let me know that you're still hearing me good. I meant to do this earlier and forgot. Okay, so not seeing anything in chat. Have we lost sound? Okay, great. I was afraid we'd lost sound. The reason why I meant to check it earlier and forgot was I heard my headset blip, and sometimes when it does it, that means it's disconnecting, and I meant to ask then, forgot. So before we go any further, I wanted to make sure that it is still working. So now let's talk about quantifying what you want out of your business, and this is what you're going to want to achieve with your business. Again, if we're talking about the example that Kevin Kelly gives us with 1,000 true fans times $100 in a year's time, that means we're looking for $100,000 income from our business in a year's time. So if that's our goal, what do we need to do in order to achieve this $100,000 baseline each year? Can you attend all the conferences in your niche? Now, every niche, no matter what it is, whether it's offline or online, there's always conventions and conferences that you can go to. Is that something that you want to do, or are you able to do with your business? If you had $100,000 a year to work with, would you be able to do that? Can you buy the education that you need for your niche? No matter what we're doing, there's always going to be a need for continuing education because things are constantly changing, especially in our digital business. There's going to be constant changing. Are we going to be able to afford the education that we need to be able to support our business? And if we have $100,000 baseline, is that going to be enough to be able to do it? Can you support your lifestyle without having to stop working on your business? Once we have our baseline and we're working towards it, is it going to be enough that we're going to be able to quit our day job if we have one and it not affect our lifestyle? Can you generate this kind of income without having to work 24/7? Now, I know you can't work 24/7, but what we mean by that is a lot of times in our digital businesses, if we're not using things that are operating correctly, or if we're using something that causes a lot of problems or it's hard to understand, is constant support. And when you're just starting out and getting a digital business going, it's going to be mostly you doing that support. So it seems like you're working 24/7 to solve problems in whatever it is that you're doing. So if you were making $100,000, would you be able to afford the systems and the processes that would keep you from having to have, somebody or yourself pretty much working 24/7 to keep things running? Would you be able to make adjustments and factor in what your number would be? Um, when we're talking about this, we want to talk about, again, using this first example of $100,000, our baseline of what we want to make out of our business in a year's time. Can we make adjustments and factor in what the number would be? You then need to look at the funnels in your niche and at the product, and look at them at the product level. Again, we fall back to this as having multiple products or uh, funnels we're working with, and that we're not relying on just one. And then we want to look at the actual, is that product going to generate the $100 per year that we need? And is it going to take more products to be able to do that, or do you need to have higher price products in addition to, the initial products that you're selling? So let's talk about now. Let's talk about quantifying what you need to buy to keep your business going. With most of us in starting a digital business, we fall into vicious cycles of how we think we should be growing our business and what we should be doing to keep it going, and things that we need for our business. And most of us, we start to work on projects. We have a, something that we're wanting to do, and we get started with it, and we work on it, and we either find out that, it's something we're not going to be able to do ourselves, so we give up on it, or we run into an obstacle because we need something that we don't have. So we start these projects, then next thing you know, we hit a serious immovable roadblock because we don't have what we need, and we basically just stop. So we finish the product, if we do, just barely, because we ran into something that didn't work as like we planned it, because of something that we didn't have, and it caused us problems in generating, the project the way we envisioned it when we started it. So with most time when this happens, it doesn't make as much as we thought that it should, and maybe it don't even make anything. Maybe you never get to sell a single one of them because it's so troublesome, or it didn't turn out, and it doesn't have the appeal. It just does, it's something that just not sellable at all. Or in most cases, you do get it out, and it doesn't make as much as you thought it would be, or thought it would make. So we get discouraged about this, and we take a break and think, well, what do I need to do differently to have the success that I'm wanting? And this is where most of us fail, is when we start the project, run into a problem, and we either give up and don't finish it, or we just barely finish it, and then find out that it doesn't work like we thought it would. It doesn't sell like we thought it would. And maybe we don't make anything with it. So, we take a break and think we need to start all over again. So we buy something else that's new and shiny, thinking that's going to solve the problem. Uh, with marketing, digital marketing businesses, if you're on very many mailing lists, I mean, it's like every week there's a new video creator comes out, and you think, well, if I bought this new latest greatest video player or creator that just came out, maybe it would solve the problem that I have with creating videos before, when in reality it could have been that you just didn't take the time to learn the other one, or maybe it did have limitations and it wasn't really what you needed to start with. So we wind up doing that. We wind up buying something new and shiny, thinking we can start all over, or that's what it would take to fix our problem that we had before. So we buy a new tool, we try a new strategy, but we never address the underlying issue of what we really needed to start out with in doing our business. Now, I talk about in our example here video, and I'll give you a prime example of this and something that I did in my own business that hindered me for a long time, but once I've finally done it, it has made the biggest difference in my business and what I do on a consistent and almost daily and weekly basis. For the longest time, I didn't want to spend money on video recording software that would do uh, desktop recording and creating video the right way. I wanted to buy these little cheap programs that are even a lot of times, for the longest time, I even tried free ones that just didn't work at all or were so cumbersome to use. I just couldn't get anything done with them. So eventually, I saved up the money and I bought Camtasia. And I'll just tell you, buying Camtasia was one of the best investments I made in my business to start with. I have made thousands and thousands of dollars from that $300 I spent on Camtasia, whereas I probably spent 500 or maybe even close to $1,000 in little cheap programs trying to do what Camtasia does best. When if I just went ahead and saved up the money and got Camtasia from the very beginning, I could have avoided all those other programs that I wasted so much time and a lot of money with, because I thought that's what it took was the newest thing that somebody came out with. That's what I needed, and it wound up being the buckling down and getting what I really needed was the best solution, and it has worked for me for going on 10 years now. That's been one of the best things I've ever purchased was a license to Camtasia. So what we need to do when we're thinking about what we want to buy and what we need to buy for our business is break the cycle and purchase what you really need, even if you have to wait and save and sacrifice to get it. Like I said, the example of Camtasia that I gave you, that's something that I put off buying it. I thought it was too expensive, that I could find a better solution, something that was just as easy, something that didn't cost as much. And I wound up wasting all that time. Whereas if I'd have waited and saved and bought Camtasia from the very beginning when I knew it's what I needed, I would have avoided all of that. So that's what we need to do is we need to, when we know we have something that we need to get done, find the right software that professionals are using, that other businesses are using and recommend, and just go ahead and get that instead of waiting for something that's new that just got launched, or waiting for something to launch that you're going to get at a software discount. Uh, and of course, I'm talking about software here, but it could be anything. And whatever you do with your business, it could be something that you're manufacturing that you're having to do it the manual way, whereas you could save up and get the machine that would actually create it. So one of the things you want to keep in mind is when you're looking to invest in your business to get what you need to produce your products and the things that you're working on, or facilitating the service that you do in your business, it doesn't have to be something that you're buying at launch price. And if it's not, so be it. Go ahead and get it, because it's something that you need, something that's going to be work for you and be reliable, and you just it avoids all of the hassles and the failures from getting something that's subpar or doesn't work at all. So let's talk about what you need to buy and what you want, and what is your number that you really need to have. Now, we've talked about having $100,000 baseline as an example, and we've talked about buying what you really need to operate your business. So you need to think about, what does the average price product sell for that's like yours? No matter what you're selling, there's always competition in it. Find out what the other person is selling and what they're selling it for. You need to look at their funnels and look at what you need, what you want to produce. What is the average price for whatever it is that you're wanting to create or already have that you need to market. You need to think about, how many sales would it take to get your number in a calendar year, month, or a day. Again, we broke it $100,000 down, baseline down, into 1,000 fans, $100 a year, which breaks down to $8.88 a month. You need to think of it like that, and then work towards hitting that number on a daily, monthly basis to where you end up with the yearly goal that you're seeking. So if we quantify this in a different, is quantifying like this is different than saying I need to make $10,000 a year or $5,000 extra a month. What you're really saying is, I need to generate 15 sales a day at X amount of dollars to be able to hit my monthly and yearly goal. You need to be able to say that, and then you need to see what your products that you have that you're selling, can they hit them goals and be able to hit your baseline that you're wanting to hit for the year. And like I said, you need to be looking at it per day, per month, to make sure that the products you have that you're selling will be able to help you hit that. You need to think about, what kind of conversion rates do these kind of products have, and in the affiliate networks, you can check and see what kind of conversion rates people are getting from products that are selling that are similar to yours, so you got some idea of how much traffic that you need to have coming into the exposure to your products, so that um, how many people it's going, how many visitors or people coming into your funnel a month, that how much money that you're going to make. And then in general, if you have some sort of product that you can have affiliates, you need to have some sort of idea, how many affiliates would it take to help you hit your monthly and your yearly goals. Affiliates are something that you don't really know how many you're going to have, that you can have a bunch for one product that you're selling, but you could have none for the next. Or you could have a partnership with somebody that everything you produce, they promote. And you could be doing the same for them. That's what a JV partnership would be. But you need to have some general idea of what your affiliates and how many you have on average could bring in for you in helping you meet your yearly baseline that you're trying to achieve. And in all of this, if you look based on the conversions that come from your website traffic visit and your affiliates, the traffic they're sending, based on your conversions, how many of these visitors do you actually need to be able to hit your daily and your monthly, your goals. So like I said, all of this comes down to knowing your numbers, and in some cases where there are affiliate networks where you can see the stats of what people are getting, you can get a general idea from looking at other people's stats. But it's something that you need to know to be able to work towards the progression of what your goal is or what you're wanting to get out of your business, and knowing what you'll have to work with as far as buying the things you need to get your business going, to keep it running, and things that you want to invest in to further your business or make it run even smoother without as much input from yourself. So let's talk about overcoming obstacles. This is one of the other things that kills people is they run into obstacles. We talked about that in the last section, and what people do on a consistent basis. And when they start a project, nobody can tell you what your obstacles will be. People can tell you what you may run into and what could be your hindrances, or they could tell you what common obstacles people run into whenever you're doing a certain process or a business model, but nobody can tell you exactly what they're going to be. You're going to face at least one of these immovable obstacles somewhere in the process of setting up and running your digital business. It doesn't matter what you do, you're going to run into some immovable obstacle that you're going to have to find some sort of a workaround for it or be able to overcome it. And more than likely, the problem that you run into, there may not be a YouTube video that tells you what to do. I mean, a lot of things, if it's something's it's functional, you might be able to find a YouTube video that tells you that. But then in general, when it comes to the true day-to-day operations and things in your business, you're not going to find a YouTube video that's going to explain the problem that you're having and the solution for it. It's going to be something that you're going to need to work out on your own. And then there's going to be some things that's going to work because you're just determined to make them work. You're going to sit there and fool with a program that gives you problems until you finally get the output from it that you're wanting. You're going to be dedicated in that. You're not getting the amount of traffic that you need, so you're going to work on getting that traffic no matter what it takes. You're determined to have X amount of visitors per month. You're going to do whatever it takes to get there. Determination can solve a lot of your obstacles if you're just determined and got a bulldog attitude that you're going to get it done. Then some things are going to work because you figure out a workaround that works for you. That's where I was talking about, depending on the processes and systems you're working with and how you're producing your products and how you're getting your marketing ready and that type of thing, you're going to have your own workarounds and processes that you're going to eventually work for you, that you're comfortable with doing, that works as helping you overcome these obstacles when you run into them. And again, you may find a general YouTube video that gives you some idea where to start, but you're probably not going to find one that's going to be exactly what you need. It's going to be something that you're going to need to figure out on your own, something that you're comfortable with. And then some things that you're going to find out you need to have some sort of a partnership or help with, and there's just going to be no other way around it, and you're just going to have to find the person that knows what they're doing or has a solution to this problem and work with them in order to get over that obstacle. And then sometimes it may be that if you attend an event, like I said, there's all types of conventions and events, no matter what niche you're in. It may be that you find something at one of these events that solves a problem that's been holding you back or hindering you and killing your production or keeping you from getting something done. It may be that you attend an event and you find a solution at one of those. But more than likely, it's not going to be just any one of these things. It could be a combination of all of them, and it could be just two or three. But it's rarely going to be just one of these things that solves overcoming your obstacles. And what it basically boils down to is, yes, you're going to run into obstacles. You're going to run into things that's going to stop you in what you're planning on doing and keeps you from doing it. But you're going to need to stop, figure out the best way for you to get over it, whether it's figuring out a workaround for yourself, seeing if there's any kind of training that might help you get started in a path that works for you, or just admitting to it that you need help and work with someone else to get over it and figure out a solution. Now, when you're running into obstacles, like I said, it's not probably going to be any one of these things directly. It could be several of them. Don't be afraid. Don't be one of those people that abandons one thing to try another and then not look back to the previous thing you tried and how far you got along with it, and that it may have helped you more than what you're trying now. A lot of people do that. They try something. If it don't work, they give up on it and forget about it and try something totally different and forget that they were making some progress with whatever they tried before. They just needed to figure out something else to get them over that obstacle from where it didn't completely help them. All right, so we're near the end, guys, and I know we've taken a long time on this training. I promise you, the next weeks will not be as long as this one. This orientation, I needed to go over quite a bit of stuff, and the next ones that we do, they will not be as long, and we should get through them a lot quicker. Let's talk about the 1%. These are the people that that seem like whatever they do, it just automatically takes off for them, and they see constant, sustained success, and you wonder how that happens for them, and you wish that could be you. And the truth about it is, a lot of times these people have some help that you don't even realize that they have, that got them that instant, fast success. And they're not telling you that that's what happened, or maybe they had a lot of money to dump into advertising that gave them that fast success, and because they were a success with what they did, it generated the income to keep them to be able to keep doing that. This is the 1% that we see and we wish that we were. This is a lot of us. We'll see somebody we see just came out with a product or just came in onto the scene, and they're an instant success. And then you see them consistently launching or coming out with new products, and they consistently having success with those as well. But the rest of us, the 99% that this doesn't have for, and I fall into this category just like probably you do too, we go through a sustained progression to success. And as long as we stick with it and build our momentum and keep trying and keep overcoming our obstacles, eventually we do see that success. And once we get there, we know what we've done to get there, and we know what we need to do to keep it. This is the 99% of us, and 99% of the people that are in this 99% go halfway through this sustained progression and quit, or they go halfway through and they back up and start all over again. This is what we talked about before in our vicious cycle that we go through. Most of us will not continue till we see our final success. We will either get halfway through it and stop, or we'll get halfway through it and start all over again, thinking we need to do something totally different, a different business model, different product, different marketing scheme, whatever it might be. And we just keep constantly starting over and over again, or we get halfway and quit. I spent years working on my initial business, and it took me 3 years to finally have a little bit of success. And once I found that success, I multiplied what I was doing and kept doing it over and over and over again till I eventually had really good success. And eventually I launched a product that hit real popular demand, and that's what really skyrocketed my business where I had a good successful following. But I spent years getting to that point. Now, I could have been like at 1% if I knew the right person to work with and instantly give me a big boost, or if I had plenty of money to invest in it, to build the dream software that everybody's looking for, or to have the money to buy all the TV commercials that you think you could ever need. But that wasn't me. I didn't have that, so I had to go this 99% route, which is where most of us fall, is in this route here of doing a sustained progression to success. But the key thing I want to get through to you is, yeah, we're going to see people that just seem to instantly be a success, and they seem to be able to keep that success going. And we wish that was us, and we wish that we could do that. And for some of us, it may happen. But for most of us, we're going to be in this 99% where we need to work towards success. And if we stick with it and stay with it and get over the obstacles that we run into, we will see success. It's just consistent staying with it. So don't stop something you're doing in your digital business because it doesn't look like that 1%. Don't let that 1% and you not being in it be your gauge of whether you just continue or not. It may be that, like I said, it takes you 6 months, a year, or 3 years like it did for me. But if you stick with it, just because you're not in that 1% doesn't mean you won't make in that 1% eventually. All right, so that's the training I have for you guys. Like I said, I apologize for it taking so long, but we did have quite a bit to go over in this first session. Is there any questions or comments or concerns that any of you have about anything that we went over? I know we went over quite a bit, and some sections of it, we will go back over in other workshops in more detail, but tonight I wanted to give you an overall overview of what we're doing and what will be happening in these next few weeks. Okay. All right. If there's no questions, the 10 consistent success practices that I talked about, I told you we couldn't go into in depth talking about that whole process. I do have a product that explains every bit of it and how you can follow those 10 consistent practices. It's strategic marketing playbook. You can get it at this URL. I'll have this link in the replay in the comment section because I know he's not going to be able to remember it, so I'll have it down there. Wakey's wanting to know what I use for this presentation. Like I said, I'm using a brand new platform. I mean, it's not brand new, it's brand new to me. The actual presentation itself is just, normal PowerPoint on slideshow display. But what I'm using as far as the actual generating the live stream is I'm using Restream. And what it does is it creates a studio where you can share your desktop, play videos, have a talking head in the corner, or it could be the full screen if you want it to be. It connects directly with video sites that do live streaming, like, for instance, we're using YouTube tonight. It'll work with 30 different platforms, which I plan on using probably 2 or 3, maybe 4 at the most. But it's a process of getting used to something else. And the main reason why I wanted to do it is so that people didn't have to register to come to these training sessions. As long as you have the YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook link, you'll be able to watch it on those platforms. But it's kind of neat. I like it. I'm getting more used to it. This is my 3rd outing with it, so I'm getting a little more used to it. That's all I have for you guys tonight. I appreciate you coming. Look forward to seeing you next week, where we'll start actually the first step in the process of our digital business makeover. Is there any other questions before we end the call tonight? Anybody else have any questions? Okay, guys. Well, I appreciate you coming here tonight. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a great week and be careful out there. It's a different world we're in now. Good night, everybody, and have a great week.